I wanted to finish this here if I can that I started. I'm going to put this one up. I was talking about the Kennedys because now then I've put up about Martin Luther King partnered with Kennedy. I put this up on several about a month ago and before on YouTube, so I didn't just come up with it in Facebook. They were part of my Kennedy helped kidnap me. His dad was ambassador to England till they kicked him out in 46. And here, they all planned my kidnapping and takedown of my father. This is George VI, who's illegal, the sorry brother that a movie was made out of, making him look good. And here's his sorry wife, Elizabeth's mother, the mom, who's kin to the Rockefellers that control your bank. They're the mafia, the global government, the Illuminati. They helped kidnap me. JFK helped kidnap me. And so anyway, I put up about, I wrote about programming people to shoot and kill back in 78. And it's hard to prove. It's invisible. But Mr. Flint was shot on March the 6th of 78. Later, I'm flown out there, and I'm leaving all of it out there. You can't put it up, and I've tried to. In a campaign to replace one of the doctors, a Congressman, Dr. Larry McDonald, who I'd written about in the case. And believe me, I had a lot of, I'm showing my bed, repercussions from it. My father, by the way, Edward VIII, was married to Georgia O'Keeffe's sister, Claudia Ruth O'Keeffe. Never married to, this is my dad. And the abdication, this is the double, one of them. I hope there's a God somewhere, and this is Obama. And Caroline is ambassador. He named her to Japan. How do you think Japan was bombed? Who all do you think bombed Japan? Now, I wanted to get back to this. This was the one thing. When the FBI files, I had a letter from them, and I thought it was because of the book. I didn't know about my kidnapping at the time till late 83. When I found out about it, I can remember it. I can remember being grabbed, and I've told that and put it up. And then where they took me, I was in Buckingham Palace. The addendum to my father's forced abdication, right here. He had an addendum that said if he had an heir, the heir would inherit. And I was born in 39, and that's what my uncle's doing here with Roosevelt. They're planning my kidnapping. 1939. I think this is Newsweek. But what I wanted to get to here, and I'm just going to put this before it goes off. You get the connection, and I've put this up between Martin Luther King and the JFK. And JFK was actually the one who helped bring me to Moulton, Alabama from Buckingham Palace. And so Elizabeth was 15 years old, and they would have had to move out of the castle because my dad would have been my power of attorney and guardian. So when I was born, brought my father back into Buckingham Palace and us. Well, you got George the illegal six and Elizabeth and this woman right here, Rothschild. She's a queen mum. How about that? Sitting there so nice and tidy with her legs crossed. She's kin to the Rockefellers. Anyway, now I forgot what I was going to say. Excuse me, I don't read from... anyway, what I wanted to put up here, I'm not going to go back to that. I'm just going to say this. With the files that the FBI on JFK assassination, they assassinated my father with character assassination and everything in the book. My mom was married to my dad. He never had anything to do with the American spy Simpson. They kidnapped me, the real monarch, my father's only child, and they slammed his name, and it's still being slammed. Now, I wanted to read you a little bit because I not read it, but I wrote it down, but I didn't expect all this mess to come up. I had some copies of my heritage, the people that are kin to me, and God knows, look at me now. I know some of them tried to help me, some Americans did, but I hope that the last of the Kennedy files would tell some of this. And by the way, in 1980, when they almost killed me, and I had a letter from the FBI, I lived at Warren House Apartments, Warren as in the Warren Commission. I worked for Fred Simpson, the district attorney there, Simpson as in Wallace Warfield Simpson. The next job was for Doyle Duke, the Duke of Windsor. So it's like clues when I found out about my real name and kidnapping, and later in 83, after the campaign. And I'd written about the mind control murders. Now I want to get to this. This is where I started Googling. I was trying to find out. Lee Raswell is the younger sister of Jackie, JFK's wife, Bouvier, and she later married Onassis after JFK was shot. He was shot by a program shooter, Oswald. Jack Ruby was programmed to shoot him. Jack Ruby died of cancer, which was, you can do that. That's what I was writing about, the Tesla files that were stolen in 1930. Create an illness or cure it or make death appear of natural cause. How do you prove it? Now, I got into more mess than I thought I was, and I couldn't write it down. I don't have a shorthand. Anyway, it gets into this is a younger sister, okay? Radswell, she was called Princess. Get this, the younger sister was. He was a prince of royal. He was of the royal line, and I was looking for the connections of Mountbattens, because Mountbattens, they visited evidently a lot while my kidnapping was going on. Later, she marries Philip Mountbatten. They're my cousins. I'm ashamed to say, but I'm the one that's made to look like the criminal. All I've done is tell the truth, and my crime was being born, and my father's crime was being the guy he was supposed to be, the man that couldn't be bought. He wouldn't sell his soul. So look what they did to him. Anyway, I'm just going to get to this. The younger sister and Jackie were in competition all the time. The book's written on this, so I'm not just making it up. It was, you get into a whole mess here. I'm not kidding. You got the younger sister during a trip that JFK made. You can Google it yourself if you care to. She slept with JFK, and they actually slept together quite a few times till he was shot. Now, this is the younger sister of Jackie. You don't hear any of this, except you can also Google that Marilyn Monroe was murdered. And she certainly was. Any fool knows that, just like Dorothy Kilgallen, the columnist, was. They had the link to the, Kennedy. I'm going to have to quit because I've been working on this, and I didn't know I was going to run into all this. But anyway, Gore Vidal wrote a book about the Kennedys and about the younger sister Lee going to bed with JFK, her brother-in-law, every chance she got, and him with her. JFK was mentioned with a mafia. They called it mafia, not Illuminati, that kidnapped me, but that's who did it, the Freemasons. And Robert Kennedy was going to bed with Marilyn Monroe, too. Two brothers going to bed with the same girl. So you should read some of this that I just got through reading about Lee Raswell, and she married again, but that's Jackie's sister. Bouvier's the maiden name. So it gets into a whole mess. And I guess I'll leave it at that and see if I can put this up. And excuse me if I sound rambling. My life has been hell, while the people that did it and the people here haven't been kind to me, believe you me. They kidnapped me, brought me over here, and they're all out there eating and having this hell of a good time and building homes right here in Roanoke, where I've lived on top of the mountain. and frozen and starved and everything in the book been done, and somebody accused me of having a chip on my shoulder. If this had been Caroline Kennedy and she had been kidnapped by the Japanese or the Brits, there would have been hell to pay.